Salutations and welcome back, everyone. Let's do a little recap because there's been a time skip in this game. During the last episode, all the player characters fought off the Capenian Navy and the Blushing Tomb Pirates. The battle proved intense for all parties involved, especially towards the end when Admiral Ada Perrin summoned a young stellar type of dragon to the battlefield, which changed the tide of the battle, probably for the worse for most people. However, despite this battle complication, originally, Nameless opted for violence, and slightly complicated the last portion. However, with Nameless's sister Ishtar and the asteroid cannon and a little bit of deceit on by Elysande, you were able to escape. The SS Keiko took off with a intense purpose, um, and has been traveling through the stars for the past 14 months. With that out of the way, this session might be a little bit different. It's not going to follow any sort of random structure. It is just like any sort of predetermined structure. Won't follow that. But instead, just different groups of people. If the scenes you wish to have for this session, that's kind of how this session's going to work.
I would like to investigate the coat that I stole from the dead guy that I stabbed. Is there
Right.
anything in it? Yes, locked his blood.
Yes. Um, Second.
Please tell me there's something worth.
D100s. Um, there is a there's simple like notes and stuff for like a captain's journal. There appears to be some sort of like uh galactic compass of some variation, but other than that, it's actually pretty sparse.
Does so you said there's a journal. Does there say anything about, you know, that day?
Not really.
Okay. Carry on.
Um, this is like for the entirety of the journey, right?
Yeah, just throughout the journey, just different little portions during the time of travel.
Um, we kind of basically are gonna go over what we had in our group chat, I think. But I know for Song, the first thing after that battle is he would get his bracelet repaired by who's the jeweler
It's
toy maker again?
me. It's me.
By your character then.
Yes.
And um clearly like made by a kid um who he's basically been sponsoring an orphanage, but we'll not go into details and we'll kind of brush it off to assume his tough guy persona. um After that, and otherwise I think he is very helpful. He's like one of those people who's like always working, even if it's like cleaning or fixing something or like peeling potatoes. It's whatever he can do, he's always doing something.
Okay.
Um, and he's just generally kind but not talkative and mostly just like a good listener. Um, and is never gets involved in any drama or anything like that. Just kind of like doesn't have the patience for it. Um, Probably if there's like any other people who are like good with like martial arts or any sort of like street fighting, he is probably like sparred with them and stuff
Okay.
on ship. Um, but yeah, he's just really disciplined and tries to be helpful constantly.
Alright. For your song, like going about and doing like just the various tasks and stuff.
Mhm.
The, some of it is just kind of to keep your hands busy and stuff like that. As far as someone to like, to spar with, the individual you would probably find the most efficient timing to continuously spar with person is a somewhat tall half elf with sort of effeminate features and sort of a comfortable fitting type of navy and black colored robe with a starry pattern on the left side that sort of coils up the shoulder and down the back. Sort of a deep V cut in the mid torso makes the planetary tattoos very visible. Um, and they do possess like green blue eyes that are weathered and serious and filled with a fair amount of experience. This is the crew member who is known as Ren. They are the ship's doctor.
Oh, he loves them. 100%. But yeah, so that's cool. He'd probably get closer to them. One thing I did mention that I forgot to mention here is that he tends to fall asleep random places though, because it's one of his more cat-like
Mm-hmm.
traits. Anywhere warm and secluded, he's gonna curl up at. He's probably been stepped on a number of times. uh,
The beds, absolutely not.
I think he does that too, but like if I'm there's assuming there's a lot of time to pass. But yeah,
You've definitely found all the votes.
The amount of times you have woken up to Nameless curled up beside you or flopped over top of you is not zero.
yeah, he would be fine with that. That not necessarily something he seeks out, but like he just tolerates it. So, yeah, yeah, he would definitely like run a lot. Also, if they're a doctor, then they would also have some stuff in common with like his healing abilities and the people he spent time with at the monastery and stuff as well. So cool. Yeah, that's it for me. I can't think of any specific events aside from the jewelry thing and the napping thing.
Liarel would probably be pretty similar to Song in that she's like naturally inclined to help around. She probably wouldn't have done any sparring, but in addition to helping around on the ship, she would have figured out ways to patiently coach Nameless with languages and getting him up to speed with societal etiquette.
It's very rough.
But she would have figured out pretty quickly, like, how does Nameless learn naturally and leverage that to every possible extent.
To say food motivated,
That's literally what I was thinking, and then I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm glad I was right.
Ishtar would definitely be there as well, just helping out in any kind of regard, and she definitely appreciates the help, even though if for a bit she may not really say it or, ever feel like she appreciates it, but she definitely does.
I'd say it's not unreasonable then for like one of the like small like cargo rooms to kind of be shaped into like sort of a rough type of
Classroom of sorts.
classroom slash like quarters situation, because there isn't exactly like realistically this is a merchant cargo vessel, so there isn't like a ton of lavish space, except for the crew members that exist. So
Yeah.
making it a little bit custom makes it. It's not like uncomfortable, but it's not. It's not an inn.
I feel like
Right.
the first few months are real rough. He goes a little stir crazy.
Yeah, and that's kind of why Liarel would be inclined to step up lessons and give Nameless things to do and help him get acclimated to at least some type of loose clothing that he can tolerate most of the time. And she wouldn't worry about like the finer details and just the overall general like if you can get this down, you can at least pass.
He gets there eventually.
But it's like a big part of it is like yeah, she's aware that like for both Nameless and Ishtar this is like really weird, so distraction helps.
Absolutely.
being upside, being in a ship, there's like lots of weirdness going on, so she's doing her little bit to help them adjust and or distract them from what's going on.
Do y'all disclose what you want from the wishing star?
I do, but before that, I had more things to add.
Yes.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Couple things. First, Joseph.
Yes.
Where's the stupid thing? Divine sense. Is there anything that's like undead? Wait.
Not within this.
Oh, or like any.
Fae fiend or undead?
Yeah, it's Fae fiend. Or no, it's celestial fiend undead.
Yeah, that's it.
Or anything affected by a hollow spell. I'm just making sure nothing's following us. I know it's only 60 feet, or just making sure nothing was like put on the ship. Like during the time that we've been here, I would have done that. Like throughout the entire ship.
Just
Like, it's
walking
floating.
around using it.
Yeah.
Wait,
I just look like a crazy person.
you said celestial fiend
Anything.
undead, right?
Yep, and anything affected by a hollow spell.
Okay. Huh.
I've stumped him, guys. I did it. It
You
took me
do
only.
detect something that is undead in nature attached to the exterior of the ship at some point in the journey.
Like, where?
Oh boy.
Just towards the aft section of the vessel as
I don't know where that is.
Suckerfish
I don't
or
know.
something?
I don't
The
know
back,
anything
the
about
back
ships.
end.
Okay, the
Undead
ass.
barnacle.
What's on the ass of the ship?
Ando's not entirely wrong. It does look like a barnacle that's attached. More like a blend between like a barnacle and a starfish, and it looks warped and slightly corrosive as the flesh has kind of eroded itself. But essentially, this is and like the barnacle-esque type of like protrusions are wiry and it's easy enough to get rid of, but this is essentially some sort of organic satellite.
Fascinating. Okay, second, I would be making Nameless just a bunch of like little puzzle like things out of like just scrap metal, just to keep them occupied. They're a lot to handle when they're bored. And so I'd probably find the ship, like if there's a ship tinkerer, I would get to know the crew as well.
Yeah, one of the people, we could do a little scene here. One of the, like, there's no ship, like, tinker, except the only person that is, that really falls into that category is a young woman who, you might even, from your perspective, might even just say a young girl. She could be anywhere from her late teens to early 20s, black hair cut into a very messy, matted, and slightly grease-stained, pixie bob. The an oil-stained gray tank top and like baggy khaki-colored cargo pants and heavy-duty sort of platform work boots. Her eyes are sort of a greenish, like a light green color to them, and wears a silver square locket that's sort of like a pendant around the neck, as well as has a almost like a bandolier of just various mechanics tools. She is the her name is Rin, and she is the Keiko's engineer. She is an excitable sort of gremlin. Um, Another puzzle or tinkering? What are you making this time? Or what am I making this time?
I want. I would want to create something very, very complicated, almost impossible. Really, the last one they just went through and kind of finished it in like 2 hours, maybe. I want something that lasts a little bit longer.
I can make something like that if you give me 3 days.
Sure. Do you need any help with that?
No, no. Otherwise, they could ask for like hints or something, and if you don't know, then it works really well.
Very true. Thank you. I'd
Um,
also. Oh,
nope. Continue.
sorry. I'd also know the cook. We don't have to go through any of that, but I would know the cook and I would try and help and like prepare like a specific meal for each person because their likes and dislikes are all different.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I've
I'm good.
taken up so much time.
You're fine.
No, not at all.
It's
Also, if we have time, I would love to have a fight with Song. Just putting that out there. Just me personally, not my character. I just think it would be fun.
He will happily indulge anyone.
Okay.
Okay.
And then, yeah, the Wish Star.
Yeah, I was just curious. Because like I feel like that's something we would all end up asking each other at some point.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good point. Well, that's kind of a scene that we can kind of ask that. It probably would happen sort of in a dinner space. The galley itself is located on the top of the vessel, and keep in mind the keiko looks like a kind of mechanical kandori with sort of this uh, kintsugi style appearance mechanic. The top level of it though is like that frosted glass. But interior wise, it looks like a very nice sort of like family type of large table with the sort of curved type of stove and like charcoal type of ovens. Certain pots are set onto that. The table is adorned with all types of different foods. The cook herself is a tall woman with sort of canine fox-like ears, kind of a bushy type of white tail. She wears an emerald and cream-colored kimono with lilac accents, a thick belt with large silver buckle, tall block-heeled boots, and just holstered into like an apron, spoons, knives, spatulas, and any sort of other tools she might need for cooking. Her hair is a sort of shoulder length and tied back, rainbow dyed, and they kind of contrast a little bit with her more like deep kind of dark chocolate brown eyes as she kind of hums to herself going through making this meal as kind of sets it before you, and every meal here has been surprisingly not sparse. It has been as if you're just being served at like a middle high end type of inn, tavern, or restaurant. It's not bad. It certainly you can tell it's definitely meant for the ship, but it is. They're not skimping out. They're not really portioning. They apparently doesn't feel the need to do so. Yeah, as you are going through, enjoying the meals of whatever might be before your plates, platters, or bowls, various drinks in hand or not, I'm sure one person will ask the question, like, what wish might you have for the wish star, or something of the line. In fact, the captain herself, Captain Jade is curious as well. She has no interest in it other than the fame of saying I tracked it down.
I think Nameless, it takes like a bit for him to understand like the concept. But once he does, he's like just very matter of factly, oh, well, I know I want my parents back so that Ishtar can have good parents. And just leaves it at that. If pressed, he would tell you about his pack and how he loved them very much and how hard it was leaving them behind. He wants to bring them back to a place of like real glory in his forest.
After that, Elysande would look, not uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is the wrong word. What? Sorry, I can't English today.
You're fine.
They would look more concerned. Sure, we'll go with that. And then, would talk. Well, okay, I'll just speak in first person. Okay, I got this. Ah, okay. Oh, how do I? I'm actually on the other side of that. I once took in a little girl. Her name is Myra, Mayra. For anyone who needs spelling. Those pirates that we saw, they had raided my town, my shop actually. They that woman that we saw at that second hand of the man that I struck my sword through. Her name's Aisha. Aisha Nocturna. She took my little girl. All because they needed diamonds from my store. They didn't ask. They took. And I have no clue what's happened to her. So yeah. That's my reason. And you see her clutching a locket, like, very lovingly.
Nameless nods at that and probably gives you like a very like gentle like pat. Like the best like comfort he can offer. He's just not sure. He's lost siblings before, but he doesn't know what it. He can't. He wouldn't know how to feel personally about losing a child.
That's a
And
box
he tries
elder
his best
bug
to
on my
explain that.
thing. Sorry.
Huh? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Look at my webcam. That's a box elder bug.
Oh,
Those little guys. Sorry. Okay,
you
carry
wanted
on.
a spotlight. I think the song would look very serious for a second, and you actually see him under the table write something down in his like pocket journal. I don't know if he would say anything though, but he literally made a note of it. Yeah. also doesn't seem inclined to answer, even though I know I was the one asking, but, you know.
And Ishtar kind of has the same regard. She listens in with everyone, but if she's like pressed or everyone looks to her and she's just kind of stone-faced, just that is my personal business. I don't have to share my secrets.
True. But I do appreciate you, anyone who has shared. We all have stuff that follows us and stuff we want resolved or undone or fixed, things I could have done differently.
The captain will like kind of push her chair, like stack the plate very nicely, look to all of you. Well, on that high note, I believe I should return to the main bridge. Enjoy your meals and your time, and do keep yourselves out of trouble.
Thank you, Captain.
And I suppose you've been traveling for a little bit, but she kind of reaches to the wall, and there is this sort of kind of like almost like a slide that's like a shooting star, and she flicks it ever so slightly, and it goes this way. And the frosted glass above for this sort of like window area clears up, and you can see this dining room or hall or galley, whatever you want to call it. The glass around, despite with like some of the framing and stuff, and the gold type of like streaks that meet through it from being repaired and damaged. But overall, you can see this endless type of star field. You can see the nebulas that are kind of off in the distance, the sort of speckled bits of space dust flying by, the far off type of different colored stars, and just truly just every piece of galactic wonder on full display, as this galley has also turned into an observatory deck, essentially.
Is this the first time we've seen that?
Yes.
Okay, Nameless just stares in awe, as he is very prone to do whenever the starfield becomes just visible. He more or less spaces the fuck out.
Yeah, Song's pupils like dilate for a second, but he's otherwise physically like just composed but watching.
Mm-hmm. The cook, as she kind of like notes, like counting each person's plate and stuff, and like who's cleared the food, who hasn't, and stuff, and like making mental notes of like, okay, this person eats less than I serve or more, and so she's making mental notes, and then finally speaks up. So I suppose this is always a question that causes either hesitation or immediate response. There are more dessert type of entrees, if that is something that people would be interested in.
That would get Amos's attention.
No, thank you.
They will
sure they're
try
lovely.
anything.
Song's definitely like a hard carnivore. So there's a lot he just doesn't eat.
Oh, I was gonna say about the dinner. If there's like a classic meat and veggies thing going on, I would have cut the meat that I had in half and then switched the veggies of Song to my plate and then given them the piece of meat.
He appreciates that so much.
You get like 2 head pats and just water and just like sits back down.
That embarrasses him a little bit, but not like in a bad way.
It's so cute.
It's like a little like ear flick. It doesn't say anything. It just quietly eats.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nameless would quickly discover that Liarel has already swiped some desserts and dropped them in his lap. And she gestures at the stars again and dives into one of his favorite folktale stories that he's grown to love.
Yes, stories.
The dessert
These are-
itself is very airy in nature. It's not. It's not. It doesn't have a lot of substance to it in terms of like just mass, but in terms of flavor, it's almost like it has the same like type of weird flavoring type of situation that things like cotton candy has, where it kind of just disappears. Like the flavor's there, but the texture and everything kind of just vanishes.
Neat.
During the dessert, I go over to Song and ask, "Do you spar again tonight?"
He's like politely like wiping his hands down with like a napkin. Absolutely, I do.
Us fight. Let us fight.
Oh,
May I cast augury?
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
I would like to know if it is a good idea for them to take part in this on this evening.
Augury is for the next 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
There is no present danger to them to do this, however, that does not mean there isn't danger involved.
Okay.
I'll just be using my fist.
I will watch then.
Yeah.
oh, you're
I
gonna
was-
be doing unarmed.
Well, I didn't. Thinking
you
about it,
sure?
it would be a good idea to use my sword.
There's sparring blades if you want to use something similar like that. They have a couple.
I know. I like
Nameless
my
could
big
throw you
sword.
a stick.
Against a monk.
Just hit you with a stick. Yeah.
You can try.
He has a bow staff. You're more than welcome to borrow.
Oh. I guess I'll just use my sword. I just feel bad.
No,
Just like
you'll be
hitting you
fine.
with a sword.
You can use the flat of it.
Yeah. So here's what we're gonna do, because we're not gonna do the full combat, because that's insane. And also, I'm sorry, but like, Paladin's probably gonna lose out.
It's okay. I just want to hit something.
But
fine.
so what's gonna happen is each of you will make attack rolls, and you'll roll damage and such, but it'll be considered non-lethal. So there's no risk to like hit points and stuff. If anything, actually, you know what we'll do? Instead of hit points, what we will do, and this will have no negative effects towards you. This will just be an easier way of keeping track of things. For each successful hit, you'll just add a point of exhaustion.
Oh, well, I'm fucked. You have like 3 hits on one turn. It's fine.
That
I'm
was
fine.
this was your challenge. But yeah,
I
essentially,
see.
so really, what's gonna happen here is the best place to do this is right in like one of the cargo holds that's kind of been spaced out, because I imagine this is not the first time that you've done this. And it's become a little of a spectacle of the ship. Like, some of the people come down just to watch and see who gets their ass kicked, because space travel, realistically, very boring.
Could I be an asshole and cast a spell?
I don't know if that's sparring rules.
I know,
But-
it definitely isn't.
Yeah.
I'd say it could just be like 3 points to win, but at level 5, a monk could hit 4 times.
I know, that's the thing. That's why I was gonna cast Shield of Faith on myself.
That's
To
fair.
get my AC higher, so you have less
I think
chance
that's
of
probably
hitting
fine
me.
as long as there's no like offensive, right? Because
Oh, yeah,
offensive
I'm not gonna-
spells, there's no way to do non-lethal with offensive spells.
Yeah, just me using command. Yeah.
In fact, I think Song will suggest it to
Yeah, okay.
give you a crutch in this.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the two of you are gonna roll initiative because
Okay.
it kind of depends. Like really, whoever moves first is gonna have a significant advantage. So
More like I'm not gonna just die if I go second.
Can I cast guidance on whoever goes second?
You
I
could-
believe guidance only works for skill
It-
checks.
Skill checks and saving throws.
Yeah. Who knows? They might need a saving throw.
My initiative is 4.
That's mostly for flavor anyway.
Four?
Mine is a dirty 20.
Okay. Elysande, you get the first attack. So you like as Song kind of takes the ready stance, one which you have grown accustomed to. I don't believe you would have started this like right after leaving the docks, but after a couple of weeks, you've been like, okay, this place is boring as hell. We need something.
That's a hit. That's a 21.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay, that is that's 1 point.
I just like lightly tap you with the blunt edge of my head, or my head, my sword. Bonk.
Song almost looks offended,
1.
and then he rolls his eyes over to Laria. Oh my god, I'm so bad with names. How do you say it?
Liarel.
Liarel. There we go. Liarel. Kind of like a silent asking of like, how mean should I be?
Liarel smirks and does a subtle nod.
Okay.
As like, go for it.
Reminder, I
It's like,
did just
let's
tell you.
spice things up tonight.
Reminder, I did tell you about my daughter.
And he
Oh,
had
mercy.
You're the one who has to hit things.
I know.
he
She
shakes his
thinks
sleeves
this-
up. Yeah.
She thinks this is a good opportunity for distraction from the heavy feels.
Oh, definitely.
And I'll make you hurt elsewhere. Physically. Let's go.
Come on.
So
Oh boy, I'm so fucked.
The best distraction from mental pain or emotional pain, physical
just-
pain.
Just sleep all day. It's all these points of exhaustion. I'm just gonna sleep all day.
actually first attack is a miss. Because that's a 6.
Yeah, nah.
Second attack is 18. I'm
Doesn't
assuming
hit.
doesn't hit.
Not with my
Okay.
shield of
I'm gonna spend a key point.
faith.
And do Fury Blows.
Mhm.
That's a 17, which doesn't hit. First one. And then that was a 14. So actually I missed all of those.
As you kind of, Sandri kind of have prepped, are a little bit more aware of how Song fights now, and have landed one of the strikes. Song kind of immediately responds, and a couple of them come very close, and you were able to kind of deflect a little bit with the flat of the blade or block, but they did get a couple of them got very close. However, Elysande, it is your round at this point.
I'm aiming to cut off like the so like cats have the ears, just like one hair off the ear.
That's playing with fire.
Oh, that's not gonna hit. 15.
Song is 100% aware of what you're trying to do.
He's like, oh, that's actually meets it, beats it. So
Oh.
Oh, really?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I cut
Yeah,
off the hair and then I
it's
hold
just
it
like
in front of
this.
me.
Okay. Damn. He doesn't like that because that's like I fucking need my ear. So yeah, I'm just gonna go in again. First attack. That is a 16, which misses.
Mm-hmm.
This dice is rolling like garbage.
Woo!
That is a 12, which misses. That's my second attack. I'm gonna spend a key point again to do 3 blows.
Okay.
Joe,
Let's
I think
go.
your unluck has also transferred.
That's a nat 1.
Oof.
I am like not rolling above a 10, and if I do, the most it's been like a 12. So
You were close on that. My AC right now is 19.
nope, that's a 15.
Oh.
I've missed all of those. So
Okay. That is 2 points. So, Elysande, this is
yeah.
perhaps the final round of this spoiler match.
We'll see.
Oh. Oh, just to match, I'm gonna go for the other. The other. Oh, yeah, 19.
Yeah, that
Yep,
hits.
that'll hit. So it'll be kind of a swing as there's like small little tufts of hair, as
No, it's just one individual hair. Just one.
one hair.
Just one.
um,
Not that mean.
Hit the whiskers.
He's a little surprised. He's like, that fucking spell, and he just like feels his ears to make sure they're not, even though like he saw it was just one, he's still like got it. They're already kind of beaten up, so he's just like, I want to make sure they're okay. But yeah,
yeah.
he's like, I don't think I can hit you. Like,
Okay, try 4 more times.
Top form today.
Try 4 more times. You have to hit.
this spell, man. This is
Oh, yeah. I have it in my notes that I'm using it on you next.
19.
Yeah!
That should just hit.
Yeah, it does.
Well, that's what I rolled, so that would be like a
Oh.
20 something. Yeah.
Oh, that'll for sure hit.
Yeah.
Just this is like just an affirmation, just to make sure, like, oh yeah, just to make sure it's not me.
Yeah.
It's okay. Once I balanced you out, you were fine. Balance the weight of one hair.
Yeah, he'll just like basically like knife hand you in the chest, like bump, like real fast. Be like, okay, but you let me do that. Like, that's a good spell. That's a good fucking spell. Not many people can get away with that.
The Vin, the mechanic, was watching and is absolutely enamored and like gives you Elysande like a thumbs up, like, hey, you did well this time. You didn't end up on your ass, so that's nice.
Oh yeah, I would have imagined that every time prior you would have absolutely just beat me.
I don't think it's been like just every time prior, but generally like the battles have been pretty skewed. I think Song's probably won more than you have. But you've won a few, but not as many. But Rin does come up to you, Elysande, after the end of that, as everyone's kind of catching their breath, and has a metallic box that's about, 6 by 6 by 6. And it has a couple of little, symbols and stuff, and little craftwork dots and things on it. That will keep Nameless entertained for weeks.
I like look at the box, inspect it. Can I like just by looking at it figure out how to like do it?
Make an intelligence check. Just
No!
Just a raw intelligence check.
I'm real bad at intelligence, Joe.
That's
That's a
fine.
3. They built it real well.
You have no idea what the hell this thing is, what it's
I-
supposed to be.
I hold it in my hands. I look down at it, up at her, and I'm like, "You're a little bit dangerous." And
I
then
know the captain says so. I'm not allowed to. We don't have nitroglycerin on the ship anymore.
And then I pull out. Do they have like earrings, like or like holes where earrings would be put in?
No, they don't. They're a mechanic. They know the risks of that. They
Oh,
do
true.
not.
Oh, what would they want? Shit, I would have said that I built something for them, but I'm trying to figure out what the hell I would have built for them.
The simplest thing
I
would probably be like a ring that's not like
no.
a simple ring that's
Snag
not.
proof.
Yeah, pretty much.
I would have. Well, I would have just like pulled out this like small little gadgety device that's about like 2 inches in diameter, and it's really just like it's the right word to tchotchke? No, it's like a little doodad. It's not functional. It's just fun to look at, and it seems to like fit their taste.
Okay.
I'm like, here, and with all the time that you've with this, I made you this.
Yep. She'll take something out and essentially do a little bit of working, and kind of this sort of engineer's mechanic jacket that she kind of just has tied around her waist. She'll kind of clip it right there, kind of like a little lapel pin. But she's like, all right, well, I look forward to seeing how Nameless deals with that, and watching with great joy, seeing how frustrated they get trying to figure it out.
As do I. And then I turn over my shoulder, like, kiddo, get over here.
He'll bound over.
It is a metallic box.
Another one of these things. They usually have good treats in them. I'll squint. Very reluctantly accept it.
I like as you're leaving, I just like ruffle your hair, and then I'm like, go, 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 go. Have fun. Good
Rattle it
luck.
around. There's much of like it gets thrown around a lot.
I rolled a 25 on the intelligence. Would Liarel be able to kind of eyeball it and see what's going on with this box?
It's a puzzle box. And it looks... This is designed in what you could only describe as sadistically. It has...
Oh,
just
jeez.
through the the previous little puzzles and stuff to keep Nameless entertained has always been like 10 steps or something like that. Nothing too extravagant. This likely has triple or quadruple that amount of steps.
Oh no.
Multi-layered and multi-steps and
So, like-
all that jazz.
Disclosure, Nameless's intelligence is a -1. This is mean.
It's okay, mine's a +0.
I love it. But can I roll to like see how long it takes for him to get this open, if at all?
Wait, what's your dexterity?
+3.
This
It's
will not be
okay.
using dexterity. This will be using...
Oh, I know. I just wanted to know.
You can do either a flat intelligence, or if it is higher, you could do investigation.
Wait,
They're
investigation-
both -1 to
Yeah.
me.
They're both. Yeah, that's both intelligence.
Okay. You know what? He rolled a fucking 19, so that's 18.
No.
But
Why?
I would like to flavor this as I feel like the first time he gets it open is entirely on accident. I think he gets frustrated and throws it against something at just the right angle, and it like pops something, and he figures it out from that. But he knows at this point how everyone else thinks about it, so he actually does the kind thing, puts it back together, and spends however long it takes to actually figure it out. But like he gets a hint for it.
Yeah, it's like it helped like unlock like 3 of the steps, and then you're like, okay, well that's not really fair. And putting it back together, I'm just gonna roll. Oh my god. figuring out yourself without any sort of assistance, it is going to take you, because I just rolled a D100, it is going to take you 27 days to finally figure this thing out.
That's faster than I was expecting.
I was initially gonna ask for them to create just an impossible puzzle.
The thing
Yeah.
is, though, it's a multi-layered puzzle. So once this, like, box is, like, once you are able to,
You unlock
open
the
the
next.
box, it folds out into, sort of this sort of, almost, like, cross-like, flat, paneled area. And on the interior of that, there's, like, you know those, like, sliding jigsaw puzzles? It's one of those. On each set of the interior panel,
Oh,
which has, like, which will essentially free, like, a pin, which will give you the next step.
whatever pieces like permanently fall off this thing, they get chewed to shit. He's destroying this thing very slowly. Like a bird would, like any sort of like wooden thing in a cage. Like
During those days of when you're like completing it, like Elysande just walks past your room, sees like the like mangled pieces of metal, and just like quietly sobs.
oh, his teeth are fucked.
So would it be fair to say 27 days for just the outer portion of the box?
Yep, just the outer portion.
Just for level 1.
Oh, so cool. I love it.
It's like a Russian nesting doll of just various puzzles. As you open it, and this is another box inside.
I'll roll a d6 to see how many other layers there are to this.
Yeah. Please don't roll one.
There are 5 other layers.
There are days where you just hear him like he never picked up cursing, but there are days where you will hear him saying puzzle.
I like to imagine you're just screaming
Immense-
for an hour straight.
Immense, frustrated, and then highly enunciated words.
Yes. Like in general, it is very, very rare for Nameless to use any sort of like conversationable common. Like usually if he walks up to anyone and says anything unprompted, it is cryptic as fuck and usually gives people deja vu or unnerves them for hours after, like weird little snippets of premonitions that only make sense like days later. So for just him to like know this one word is like a big deal and it is filled with loathing.
Yeah, as you're kind of going through it, and you are about, what we'll say is about halfway through, like, stage 2 of this puzzle, it takes you by surprise, all of you, as you can feel an impact, against the Keiko as this sort of, and the ship kind of rocks to one side, and the gravity interior, standing upright, you would all sort of roll ever so slightly port side. As
Well, that is unacceptable.
as the lights on the interior from this kind of healthy sort of like LED kind of blue-white and switch to this deep orange color and sort of this sort of like low bassy construction type of alarm noise. And then something over the overhead speaker. This is Captain Amaris. We have hit in some random space debris. Do be aware that there is a potential that the ship may have a leak. I ask all passengers and crew members to look for Oxygen leaks.
Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah, Song is immediately on it. You want me to roll for it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
you can make.
I'll definitely help you out in looking how
Yep.
for this.
Oh,
You
please
also
So
make
roll
I'll give you
perception
advantage for
checks.
that. Unless you want to.
Nameless
Advantage?
wouldn't help directly. He goes straight to like where we keep any of like the like limited livestock that we've got on board, and I'm calming everybody down.
I mean, if you want the advantage, or do you want me to roll alongside you?
Probably roll alongside me because I am not rolling with a 10 tonight, apparently.
And
And
Yeah,
this is
and-
perception, not investigation.
This is perception because you're actively looking for something first. Investigation would be a little bit more intuitive.
Deeper into it.
Yeah.
Got it.
and this
Alrighty.
the over the
Oh,
ship
well,
was saying it was like the
Yep, was the captain.
the project it was projectiles.
Okay. That's a nat 20.
Okay.
Or a
Hey!
27.
Holy shit!
Liarel got
Ishtar!
a 18.
Song's ego is bruised, and so is his eyes, apparently.
Fair enough. You don't need to elaborate further, I guess. That sounds like a below 10 to me. Yeah. 1 second. It is from the slightly port side. Like the starboard.
Sorry.
Goodness sakes. It's from the starboard bow portion of it. The lower deck has been struck by what looks to be like just space debris that has just been traveling through. Because there's no inertia, so it just keeps going. And has embedded itself in the vessel. It looks like ice almost, like sort of metallic and icy. And it's not large, like it's not a gigantic spike.
Yeah.
But
How
it
big
is
Yeah.
it's not the size of like a car or anything like
Yeah.
that. But it is about the size of like
I mean, a leak of any size is always a problem, no matter what. But
it's large enough to be of concern. It's about the size of like the head of like a sledgehammer. It's decently sized.
okay.
Is this like the middle? Like what time is it?
Hard to
Is
say.
everyone asleep?
No, not after
Okay.
that.
It's not after then. The announcement. Yeah.
Alright.
Well.
I'll walk towards. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
I was just. I'm gonna go to Rin, the engineers, like towards their workstation area to
Okay.
find tools for it.
She is going through and like running sort of this unlike sort of newer vessels, this vessel does things much more not very digitally and more analog based. So it's kind of like looking at like dials and gauges as opposed to just like digital or something readouts like that, and it's going through like tapping certain things. You know, it was going to happen eventually, right? Everything was going so smoothly, so.
As she kind of finds and inspects this kind of hole there, see, she kind of just thinks things out. She will begin to cast Leomin's tiny hut to at least have a small temporary seal going on, as anything within this 10-foot radius immobile dome has a atmosphere inside the space. It's comfortable and dry regardless of weather outside.
Okay, I do believe you have to be inside the hut for it to stay, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so as you're kind of in
That.
this hut and you've kind of you've essentially quarantined to this too.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see as this sort of ice and metallic is starting to like drip off. It's as you know, the temperature becomes above freezing essentially.
Yeah.
The ice around it begins melting, and the metallic, like you can see it warped and shaped, and you can see it is actually ancient text, but it looks like a plaque from a vessel.
Am I able to pull it free? Or is that's the thing that struck the ship, or
Yeah,
is that something
that
that's
is the
on this?
thing that
Okay.
struck the ship. So you can see
Okay.
that like it's a plaque. You could potentially pull it free, but then you're dealing with oxygen in a vacuum exiting
Yeah,
into space. So
there's a few things going on there as I kind of read through it. Or can I read anything through it, or just
make a history check.
okay? Not bad at all. Okay, that's going to be a 15.
15. Okay. Um, in your earlier years of life, Drow society has always been more subterranean. However, there are certain Drow deities that were much more open to the concept of freedom. Um, and looking into this, there is a. This is an old dialect of like Elvish Undercommon. And just through history and like mythology and speculation, at one point deep within the far edges of the Andromeda galaxy, there was a drow like society of scientific and explorational advancement. Very like the drow equivalent of what would be Atlantis.
Now that definitely piques her interest for sure.
And I'll also add this, that your star map that you've been following to try and track the wish star only gets you so far, because it's an old map, and unfortunately, the orbit of celestial bodies is not exact. So
Mhm.
this right here, and looking at the kind of remembering at least part of the star map, leads into this sort of large, expansive type of nebula and like cloud of space. But there really isn't any determination of what that could be.
Mhm.
However, given this and the close proximity, and you're not that far away, maybe just a couple weeks away from it at this point, that might be where this map is pointing you to.
Interesting.
When I come back, can I use detect magic to see if there's anything like magical about this shop? No.
Yeah. It's not really magical. It's just
Okay.
Now,
I'll
this
just
is
leave it
something
there.
very interesting, and she would relay kind of the information she gleaned from this to the rest, and you said that the hole or the object itself kind of made about a size of a sledgehammer head,
yeah, like about
kind of hole.
like a 9 pound sledgehammer. So it's not
Yeah.
like it's not the largest thing. As long as it gets dealt with, it should be fine.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
it's just if it was left for too long, it would have been a much larger problem.
Mhm. Let's see. So, what I think that if I slowly tried to remove it while also casting mending on this, would that be able to seal it up?
Mending is an
So,
action, yes.
mending is a cantrip. It repairs a break or tear in an object you touch. As long as the break or tear is no longer than 1 foot in any dimension, you mend it, leaving no trace of the former damage.
And it's an action, yeah?
Yes, it's an action.
Okay.
So I would have to get some help moving that.
Yeah, so here is what will have to happen here.
Mhm.
You definitely can do that. Here's where the complication comes from. Removing this, or like pushing it out, getting rid of it, is dangerous because then it is being sucked out.
Yes.
So, essentially, what you will have to do is either get someone to help you with that, or
Mhm.
if you're going to do this all simultaneously, you're going to be making a dexterity saving throw, or perhaps being suffering some consequences from it.
May I
Okay.
assist with a spell?
What spell do you got?
Wind wall.
Liarel also has mending, and she's there.
Wait 1 second. I need to look up something. Wait, where
My
is it?
dex is stupid high,
Um,
but I've been rolling like
So
shit.
is my first thought was like somebody else could grab the shrapnel while Ishtar and Liarel both cast mending.
never mind. On my thing.
Okay.
I could grab the shrapnel then, I guess.
I'll pray in the corner.
Okay. So, removing the shrapnel, that is going to require a dexterity check.
As I
because-
I feel like we should inform the captain of our plan.
I'll
before we
go
do
tell the
this,
captain of the plan as well as the engineer.
so she can set up contingency, like block, like airlock the room or something.
Hello, can
I have that covered with the tiny hut.
just in case, can I tie like
Yes.
a harness?
In a way, it's just that space in a bit, but yeah. But that doesn't protect us inside the hut.
Could I
inform her. If
use
you go down, then the
wind
ship
wall
goes
to give
down.
us like air?
Let me look at wind wall really quick.
We'd be making
It's a
more
weird
dexterity
one.
checks.
Let me.
And it's one I only took because we're flying.
Smart.
Let me look into wind wall.
Do you want me to read it off for you? I have it
Nope,
open.
I got it right here.
Okay.
Okay, so wind wall will definitely push out the debris. It will not stop the suction and vacuum of space, though.
Gotcha.
Not
Okay.
that it's really gonna help, but I'm gonna tie like out of rope, or like not even I guess a harness, but also like just like a lasso will do, like around every person that's like about to do this. Just for my own sanity.
All right, and you're going up to inform the captain, which isn't that hard. Like, this ship isn't huge. It takes you only, like, maybe a minute to get where you need to go, as the captain's kind of doing sort of damage control, checking over things, and you inform her, and well, that is certainly a bold plan, and a high risk, high reward. She'll put on
Don't worry, we have magic.
She puts on the intercom. Well, my vessel is sort of at your mercy, but I am willing to see how your plan works. However, I am going to be very pragmatic about this. The seals to where this sort of area are for this, will close.
Yep.
That's
fair.
Yep.
All right. As everyone kind of gets ready. Since I can just do this, I will drop a bless on us as well.
Nice. I'm gonna fucking need it. Let me know when I need a roll for Dex.
How about some guidance for anybody who
I'll
wants?
take it. I'm doing a skill check.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Take that.
So now you have 2d4 to add.
Excellent.
He would like say something like probably like creepy about the situation. I don't got nothing off the top of my head though.
Is this a dex check or a dex save?
Dex save.
Well, for
It's gonna
those
be
of
a-
us doing mending,
Oh,
It's gonna be for mending. It will have to be a save just because of the vacuum of space moves very quickly.
yes,
So-
absolutely.
And then the leave song is just yanking the
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
3, so that's yeah.
I just
let
yeah.
that be a dexterity skill check.
Yeah, I had to check because guidance is only for checks. Resistance is the one for saves.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it was a save. I have +6 to saves.
But yeah, you have 2d4 to add, and those of us who are doing the mending have a d4 to add.
Yep. So
With my luck tonight. Okay, this is a D8. Okay. Alright. Dex rolling. Fucking 19 plus 4.
Add them to 2d4. Let's
I
go.
did. I rolled a D8, so that is 23.
23.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you right now, the DC for this skill check was 23 because it is a very dangerous thing to do.
I can take a picture of it. Or I can just show you.
No, I see it.
It's a fucking yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. But taking that out as it immediately, the vacuum of space takes hit. So, Liarel and Ishtar, I need you to make me dexterity saving throws to not like have your hand be sucked through.
Oh, fun.
22.
22. Okay.
Woo. Okay. Okay, that's really good. Also 22.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Oh,
Okay. So here's the thing. It's going to be a wild card thing. So I am just going to roll a d20, and I am going to add 4 to it because that's kind of how quickly. I'm just going to treat this as like a sort of a rough initiative order for this, just to see how quickly you get through this. Plus 4, that's an 11, 15. You two are fine. As this sort of vacuum, like yanking it out as someone kind of like yanks it out and braces themselves against, and the sort of the loud type of vacuum sucking the oxygen from here as the mending kind of takes place. And with 2 mendings, you are almost able to reinforce it to a little bit more stable before it kind of stops and the intercom comes over again. There's no more pressure. I assume you are either all alive or I will be met with resounding silence.
Good.
What a relief.
Yeah.
We have a shiny new object to study now.
Oh, thank fuck. And like Song will like hand it over to whoever wants it.
Liarel takes it. She rolled a 23 earlier on that history check, and she's keen on seeing what this says.
Okay.
He's indifferent. He just wants
She
us
also
done.
knows. Yeah, she also knows Undercommon.
There you go.
This is from it looks like it's a placard, again, from like a vessel of some kind or something. But it has like some weird lettering that you're not able to identify, but it's probably similar to like SS or HMS or something like that. But it's not exactly the language, but the rough translation that you get is King of Stars.
The what of stars?
King of Stars.
Stars.
This is gonna sound like a stupid question. Does in space? I don't think this is the case, but like, do things like weather in space?
Oh yeah.
They do. Okay.
Especially
How
with like unchecked radiation rolling through space at all times, like no atmosphere to protect it. Yeah, things get fucked real fast.
Mhm.
There's all sorts of weird phenomenon.
Can we?
Yeah.
Does it look like it was like what state is she in? Is she in like a good, like just ripped off, or like has been out there for a
Been out there
time?
for a very long time. The
Okay.
fact that this is like even somewhat legible is surprising.
May I cast detect magic?
I already did
Uh,
that.
Yeah,
Oh, you did?
Yeah, there wasn't.
I
There's
missed
nothing on
that.
there.
Nothing
Okay.
magical.
I missed that bit. Sorry.
It's okay. What the do? Can is
Not
there any-
interesting. Nameless walks off.
Can I can detect good and evil. Is it affected by a hollow spell? That's all I got. I'm so useless on the show.
Great
Let's
curses.
let's ask the captain if she knows anything.
I mean, I did at least tell you a little bit of what it came from, at least the inscription of it, but something
Well,
very
yeah.
fascinating.
Right.
At least it probably will be helpful, at least for where we're headed to next. And yeah, it's good to take it to the captain.
Can I tell the origin? Sorry. Can I tell the origin of the metal as a jeweler?
Not really. It falls into that sort of like strange type of like meteorite metal. You're not really sure what
Oh.
it classifies itself as.
These dang kids and their meteorite metals.
But
Sorry.
yeah, as you get to the command deck, it is sort of the screens themselves kind of look like those sort of slightly ovular screens that like old black and white TVs have. They're kind of hanging in sort of a triangular pattern above and leaning slightly down so you can view them. The table that itself is kind of has a small model of the Keiko as well as the surrounding astral bodies that are pertained to it, and they are signified by just different colored like steel rods that are protruding outwards. The vessel itself has a couple of levers and switches. It looks very rudimentary in terms of how it moves. There is actually no windows here at all to look out into space, but rather it is all isolated, and the bridge of it is not like right in the front of the ship. It is actually located directly in the center of this vessel. And it's God, what is a good way of describing like the overall vibe of how this is set up? It's like a scaled down version of it's like a scaled down version of like Battlestar Galactica's CIC. So it's in more steampunky in appearance, but it's very simplistic and practical more than anything. As you all kind of arrive with this sort of group of stuff, Captain and this Earth Genasi kind of who you know is Mr. Curio and is the first mate of this vessel are kind of going over and looking, checking damage, and seems like you've dealt with most of it before they turn their attention to you. Well, it seems there's some excitement in space after all for this travel.
Unfortunately. He's like smoothing his hair back into place from like probably the sudden influx of pressure.
Mm-hmm. I imagine you have something to report, otherwise you wouldn't
Yes.
come to the bridge.
Ishtar, you know
Yes.
more about this than I do.
According to the descriptions on this.
While Ishtar is explaining, Liarel arranges it on the whatever service.
Yes, according to at least the little bit of inscription on this, it came from a previous venture out that was thought to be a bit of a myth, and it might be helpful in our further pursuit on our with our star map in tow and everything.
You are
How-
passengers that are very good at chasing myths.
Seems so.
Do you have an inkling of direction of where we should head?
Again, like, where was this kind of pointing us, at least? Was it still in, or
It's
not
like
quite
a
pointing us, but yeah, it
large
was.
type of like wide type of like nebula. You don't know exactly what it is yet. Like no one does because it's a ways off yet. But you do know, in terms of length, it is about probably 2.5 light years across and maybe about 12 light years deep. So going around it or going through it, both are not great options, but
Yeah.
the map seems to want to take you through it.
According reading through this, it wants us to go through this nebula. But that does. I know during so our current course at this time is it's still like a ways off at this point, right?
Yeah, it'll still
Yeah.
take like
Yeah.
10 to 12 days to get there, maybe a little bit more.
And I'm just trying to think on because Ishtar has no any formal training on any kind of navigation, so she's just mainly just relaying the information and seeing what they would think on this.
I am unfortunately not a cartographer. She kind of presses a button, and you can see like different names associated with the different buttons, and you can assume that's either to quarters or to like workstations. But she presses one that says, Mr. Grisham. You actually have not met this individual. He apparently is very introverted and tends to stay in his own quarters or like his own office, which none of you have had access to. Mr. Grisham, if you could make your way to the bridge, please. Do I have to? Mr. Grisham, I don't like repeating myself. Alright, sure. Well, you'll get to meet our final member of the crew. He is a unique individual. Mr. Curio, if you could go around the ship and make sure everything is up to par. Yes, Captain. And he will depart. You can actually hear Mr. Grisham approach as you can hear almost like heavy footfalls that kind of echo throughout the interior of this vessel, like an echoing playground. As the hell, there we go. As he approaches, he stands about. He is a large, what this race is known as a GIF, which is a large bipedal type of like hippo.
The space hippos.
He wears tiny little round like spectacles that are honestly a little too small for him. This sort of scholar's attire and just a couple of things attached to his back that presumably have like rolled up maps or papers or documents of some kind. Alright, Captain, here I am. Well, I am not the one that is filling you in on the map and the course. That is contractees. Oh, okay. Sure, hit me with it.
So we'll just kind of explain. I'll show the it's a tablet of some sort, or just whatever it was, kind of just, and kind of share the knowledge that I know from it, and just see what he thinks on at least compared to our current goings on with the ship, or at least towards our travels. There we go.
Kind of looks through, checking like the map that's in the center of the room. Well, going around it'll take years, and going through it will take decades, so not really any good option. But if the map's taking us through, then presumably there might be some... It's always been theorized, but there might be something that is more FTL based technology that might get us to our destination.
FTL.
Faster than light.
Mm.
Always rumored by ancient civilizations, but never proven, and every vessel, even the Companion Navy, doesn't go much higher than a few thousand miles an hour, so...
If this is true, and we could find such technology, that would prove very, very helpful in our final destination of sorts.
Yeah. Problem is that all of you are sporting fantastic shall we say, participation trophies of fugitive marks by the Companion Empire and the Navy, so... Rest assured, we haven't seen or heard of any Companion vessel, but I imagine they're still tracking this vessel to some degree. They might be behind us by a couple weeks, but they are tracking us.
That's the danger of this excursion of ours. So
Yep.
I feel...
Yes, it is.
It's
Do you have any-
validating, isn't it? Being able to, knowing that they wouldn't be pursuing us if this didn't have some importance to it.
Yes. Yes. I'm also a massive proponent of continuing to breathe.
Suit yourself.
I will, actually. It's...
I cut someone off. Go on.
Think, Elysande, you gonna say something?
Yeah. Was there any form of recognition when looking at the object?
Not at all.
Okay.
But yes, I suppose we could go through the nebula. Just, I would have to see the nebula up close to know what we're dealing with specifically. But there is a chance that going through the nebula is perilous and could be tantamount to suicide, so...
Well, to be fair, our current mission is also has just about as good odds, especially when dealing with the Navy, and, well, it's better to try our luck anywhere else, since we already are marked for death. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Well, when you get closer to the nebula and have more, to go off of, you can call me back up. But until then, I'm gonna keep working on my work. And he will simply leave.
Good talk.
He is, not exactly the most, sociable crew member that we have.
Yeah. Teach their own. Well, thank you. I'm glad we're all caught up and on the same page. We happen to have a smaller craft that can scout ahead when we approach the nebula, do you?
We
No, I don't know anything about.
actually have 2 of them.
I don't know anything about space travel, but is that a feasible thing to send a few people out first?
That is not, unheard of. These vessels are more for lifeboat type of purposes, but they could function the same. Well, this vessel is a little bit more comfortable. You will expect no comfort from something like that.
Just trying to think of ways to minimize the risks for everyone else involved. But I'll leave that to the call of experts and certainly not myself.
Well, you could always head down to the rear section of the ship, and you could take a look at the lifeboats, as it were. And you can make your judgment call then. And once we get closer to the nebula, we can figure out how to proceed.
I have lived on a moon my whole life until recently, so I'm not sure if I am the best one. I don't know anything about anything. I can punch things, I can fix things, I can clean. That's about it.
That might be why Masaki enjoys you having in the kitchen.
Oh, glad to hear it. Anyhow, glad we all didn't get sucked into space. I think I'm gonna retire for tonight. I'm assuming it's past post dinner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That whole endeavor, though, like, rules and stuff were short, was probably a very stressful, like, hour.
Oh, absolutely.
All of you will kind of retire for the night and wherever you feel to retire. Damn, I lost it, the yawn. I tried fighting it for like the past 2 hours and it didn't work. But the as you take your rest for the night, kind of listening to the low white noise hum and the slight hiss of this vessel's interior workings and the slight little clicking sounds that this vessel has that you have at this point grown very accustomed to. It's like a white noise at this point. Do you all kind of drift and think about the actions that you have to take, the clock moves forward, and you are now, several days later, staring out the observatory deck of this mess hall area, and you can see this nebula. Deep crimson and black and flashing blue lights throughout. And violently so, like it's an aggressive storm is on the interior of that. And Misaki, the cook, is looking at it. I don't know if I can make a meal that really feels appropriate for this.
I would say last meals, but that doesn't seem appropriate either.
Hmm. Right, I do believe, well, I'm not really sure what I'm making, but I'll make something. You get the sense that she is very intimidated by this nebula, like it is very scary to her, the prospect of potentially that this vessel is going to go through it.
And help her. She's this poor woman. And I suggest making a soup.
It's so funny. I was thinking that too.
It's a rainy day, kind of.
As watching out the observatory deck and this mess hall, as these lights are flashing, one of them does arc outward and strike this vessel. It doesn't rock it or anything, but it does coat it like a web ever so slightly for a brief moment before fading off it and kind of like deflecting off. But you can feel on the interior, you can feel like your hairs just stand up, but like despite being resistant to it and not having to worry about it, that is the strength of like the electricity here. It has the enough pull to like puncture through that you can still feel it, like this tingling sensation.
I think like Nameless is just feeling that spark and that everybody is on edge, is just constantly casting augury and staring out at the storm. And just
you, Nameless, as you're casting augury in a few bits every now and again, you can actually watch as this nebula begins to swirl ever so slightly, and this sort of like one of these opening areas looks like this almost like multi-toothed layered like shark maw before it kind of like collides in on itself and fades, and then you can't help but see other things like that, like this twisted type of like mouth or claws or something as they kind of roll and fade into like nebulous mist.
yeah, he's definitely on edge for like the rest of however long this bit is. Like anyone who comes near him, he just kind of like growls and just doesn't want to be around anybody right now until this gets sorted.
Song is pretty like business as usual, but a little more subdued. Kind of tries to be supportive, doesn't really know how. But it's somehow this definitely is still not the scariest thing to him. So
The captain will make her presence known over the just speakers. I know the original plan was perhaps to do some scouting, but given the nature of this nebula, I do believe that would be unwise. So we will be taking the Keiko into this nebula, despite Mr. Grisham's loud, continued protests. But do be aware, everyone aboard, that is likely to be a less than smooth ride. You can feel the vessel slowly lurch forward as it approaches this kind of deep, kind of endless, cavernous entrance. And as it enters, and this observatory deck, you can see the kind of open space of like different stars and starlights just begin to fade into like a deep red, with accents of like white blue as lightning flashes go off, as the Keiko slowly begins to move through, and you can hear the metal of this vessel almost groan in protest upon entering, and you can feel every sort of like lightning strike that hits this vessel. It's not aggressive per se, but it is intermittent and at the same time fairly constant. So there is ever so like it doesn't like spin you out, but it does like shake the vessel every now and again. You can see like the spice jars of this kitchen kind of rattle, or plates move, or you can hear like the sliding of crates kind of moving through, almost like a ship in a real life with like cargo that's been loose, just sliding from one side to the other. With that, is there any like, I guess the question is for everyone is, as you're going through this sort of aggressive storm-based nebula, where is everyone at emotionally at this point?
Good question.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Ishtar's always been a bit cold and a bit standoffish for a little while at this point, and she's, I suppose, during this whole trek, she's been a bit more than quiet, more so than Nameless would really. Like, while this is probably after the first week, it kind of makes sense in a way. Like, yeah, this is a new situation and all that, but like, past that, it just continues for a bit, and it's just this whole situation altogether, and this kind of, I guess, this kind of compounds on a bit of things of, I get not quite frustration or anything of that sort. It's more there's a lot of anxiousness going on, and uh, while she's done her best to kind of hide it, it's definitely comes up even further now, where to the point where she can't exactly. It's a bit more clear, and it depends on if anyone goes and tries to confront her on this or not, I suppose, if she wishes to reveal it. But otherwise, she'll just keep it kind of hidden down, or at least keep it down at this time.
Okay.
Yeah, unless Nameless does, then I think Song probably would.
Nameless would probably tail Ishtar around right now because things are weird.
Mm-hmm.
You got a little shadow now.
Then yeah, I think Song would kind of come up to them sort of like passively at first, but really he's just kind of like getting a read before he tries talking to you. About it kind of looks like he was on his way to do something, but he just kind of stops and is like, the situation's really getting to you, isn't it?
Look, I don't need any help with anything. I'm doing fine.
Help! I can't help you with shit right now.
How comforting.
But um, you know, I can listen. That I can do.
And
I
she
didn't
kind of
give
just
Ishtar a look.
yeah. And just there's a bit of frustration. There's a bit of just a lot of things she's either holding back or just as she's kind of not quite biting her tongue, but she's just contemplating on everything right now, and it's just as let's see here how she reacts to this, honestly. Okay. Yeah, she'll. She kind of just shakes her head, and as she kind of just furrows her brow a bit, and or rather pinches the edge of her, pinches her brow with her hands, and just sighs for a moment, and just. I just don't know. I don't know what I've gotten myself into. I don't. I don't know if this was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
When your entire life has been guided for you, every single step of it has been put you on a path of some sort. Every little detail planned out. Not only your day, but just your whole life. The expectations that you were to have. And now, through my own wanting to do my own thing, feeling that there was something out there for me, just throwing that all away, and then just feeling like no ground underneath me. A lot. And I don't know why I'm telling you all this. I'm just. There's just days that I doubt if I made the right decision in all of this, if I should have even left for the surface in the first place, if I should have just been exactly what they wanted me to be, or if it was if this was good for me, if this was good for my brother. Meeting him was good for him.
I will put my hand on the front of your armor. You're good. We will be okay. We have each other. That is good.
Some pretty wise words. I think too, think about what ifs or what should I have done's are they're helpful but up to a point. But you know, if it's to the point where you're torturing yourself with them, you know, can't go back in time unless, you know, this wishing star thing turns out to be true and we get there alive and sound, maybe, perhaps. But quite literally right now, metaphorically, and again, literally, the only direction we can go in is forward. So, but I understand reckoning your feelings and trying to get your feelings to catch up with that is a whole other situation entirely.
As you are moving through this and the lightning strikes continue to hit, the lightning flashes of this observatory deck, as you kind of can stare outwards, are now seeing something impressive. Shapes. It almost looks like buildings kind of just suspended and held still as structures that look like they might have been shrines, spires, towers, or skyscrapers at one point are all kind of decorated and held in place. Anyone who's on the observatory deck can make a perception check.
Are we on the observatory deck?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yep. Yeah, you're like in the mess hall area, which is technically the observatory deck as well.
Okay.
Said perception.
Yep.
Perception. Okay.
Natural one.
I'm not even gonna bother. 7.
That's going to be a 15.
18.
It's a miracle I rolled well for that dex check.
Okay. Rolling through and kind of seeing these spires and using the perception, the rest of you don't see it, but Liarel and Ishtar, you do see it. Dark shapes kind of, they're almost like dots at first, but as you approach, they are bodies floating in space. Well preserved, though damaged and weathered. They kind of look almost like warped or melted or corroded. Definitely dark elf, drow in nature.
Did anyone point this out?
I'm gonna add a description here because that'll really depend on whether people want to point this
Yes.
out. Some of the bodies are like fused to each other, like flesh melted into each other, or similar of the like, and you can almost see also like thin, like dark lines going from structure to structure in weird kind of erratic patterns, almost like a spider's web. And as you kind of get closer, can see almost kind of bleached white with specks of red. These lines are like bones that have been strung up and attached from structure to structure, like a weird, messed up type of spider web almost. And Ishtar and Liarel, you can see shapes that are also floating there, bodies that have been fused and such. But you swear you also see movement.
And at that is definitely something I would bring up, where something terrible's happened here. As I kind of just look around and just see what's going on. Is it seemingly like not quite a wreckage of sorts, but something like, is there like debris out there or something like that? That's connected with all that.
The best way I could describe the debris is almost as if a large city like London or New York exploded in sort of a spherical pattern. So it almost branched out in like a sphere and is just ruined like that and has just been suspended like that. Um, like it's out in a sphere and things are designed almost like an MC Escher painting.
Fun.
But you also do like Keiko can't like do too much wide maneuverings here, so a couple of like one of those weird type of like fused bodies does collide with the observatory window. Um, it's kind of like got a head and a half, where like one head is slightly pressed into the other and fused there, and the four eyes, two are kind of set vertical, one slightly off kilter. The clothing itself has been fused into the body here, and the eyes themselves are slightly glazed over as it kind of slides across the glass. But everyone can see this because it kind of is hard to miss when it's right there. The eyes move and watch all of you as it kind of just spins past the observatory.
I track that thing.
We need to
As
get
a-
ready. We have to prepare. Something wrong is happening over here.
because I wasn't here for most of this, I would say, because I'm in the kitchen stress cooking. I come out to whatever the hell this scene is. How close? How close is it to us? Like these bodies.
They're dotted around everywhere. The more like you go deeper in, the more you can see, like dozens upon dozens.
Are they is something within 60 feet of me?
What do you mean by that?
Like a body.
Yes.
I'm gonna use divine sense. Mm. Do you want me to read it?
No. Because this falls into Celestial Fiends Undead, right?
Yes.
Nope. Don't detect anything like that.
Interesting.
But then you can hear the grating of metal towards the aft section of the ship from the observatory deck, which is at the bow. But you can hear the grating of metal, and you can hear the sound of an alarm, and almost like it almost sounds like a hard bone onto metal. And it sort of makes a rapid, like, clicking motion as you can hear it echoing inside of the vessel.
As we hear that, I get my hackles raised, and I'm just gonna like his hair like poofs up, and I'm going to pull out just like what almost looks like ash from like some sort of pocket or like whatever he's been forced to wear, like a bag or something, and just like some random stick. I'm gonna spit in my hand, spin this like ash stuff into a gunk, and I'm going to mark on everybody whatever like bit of skin that I can see or fur from someone, and put like a little mark on everybody, and I'm gonna cast Pass Without Trace.
Okay.
All right, Ishtar.
Um,
Good talk.
we have more pressing matters coming up as
As I said, the only
Can
way
I-
we can go is
Okay.
forward.
and
Can I
As
see if
Liarel studies this, one's like, what kind of role to kind of figure out
Yeah.
what is
what the
this?
heck is this? Is there anything that I would know from these being drow, or if nothing, then at least help you out in figuring out what
We'll
the
get
heck
to that
this
in
is?
just a second. Elysande, was there something you were gonna say?
Yeah, since I wasn't here for all of the perception rules, I was stress cooking. Can I make one now?
Yeah. Go for it.
See if I see anything more than what we did. 1 second. That's a dirty 20.
Not really.
Yeah.
Same things.
Okay.
But
Just wanna make
yes, you
sure.
can hear that. And for Ishtar, you can make a religion check or or history check.
Religion is something I have proficiency in, so
I also do that.
Yes.
yeah. So I'm thinking, since I'm helping you out here, let's see. Oh, okay. 19.
21.
Ooh, nice.
Rachel, your face is like, it is possible.
It is possible.
As a slow burn, that's all.
Okay. For you, Ishtar, you are familiar with the concept of something similar. To some degree, by the sound of it, it does sound vaguely arachnid-like, but you don't have vision on it, so you're not entirely sure what it is. You have a suspicion of what it could be like, but you're not entirely sure.
Mm-hmm. At that time, possibly arachnid-like, the bone structure, everything kind of going on. At that, immediately, Ishtar will cast Spirit Guardians.
Nice.
Okay.
Yes.
My favorite spell. One of them.
As she holds a hand on the chest plate of her armor, and you see it glow, and the starlight around her kind of glows, and the guardians kind of take shape of almost like a star field around her of sorts, just small floating lights that dance around her in a 15-foot radius.
Okay. As all of that happens, I suppose because Pass Without a Trace is active, you could go investigate this, and do you all want to make stealth checks with that?
Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do believe we have to be within 30 feet of Nameless, though.
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
That one.
lovely. Okay. Oh, thank god.
Well, I have disadvantage because of my armor, so
Same! It's plus 10, right?
Yep.
26.
Not bad rolls there, but let's see. What is my stealth
Says
score? Plus
my
1.
second that one.
23.
I was just trying to get all of your bad rolls out of the way. That one.
I'm just curious.
Oh.
14 for me.
Let's see.
14. And, Liarel, what is your stealth check?
If there's the plus 10, it was 25.
25. Okay. Let's do that real quick. Okay.
Let's see. Could I add one more thing as we're
Yes.
kind of doing this?
Mhm.
As we're kind of moving along, Ishtar will put a hand on Nameless and will use Vigilant Blessing. You now have advantage on your next initiative roll.
Ooh, neat. Okay, thank you.
You all kind of begin sneaking through, and it is about right about the bridge of this vessel where you have to kind of pass through it, and Captain Amaris does have her sword drawn because she can hear something approaching, and she is like, sword is drawn and hand is across her chest where there is a arcane pistol of some kind, and you can see it down the hall. This sort of fused and warped like drow where it's inverted. Whereas like for you, at least in terms of lore, Ishtar, you know what a Drider is. However, the body and the torso portion of it is upside down and kind of hanging below, and the head is kind of 180'd, and slightly the jaws slacked. The arms are kind of blended between like spider-like bone and just humanoid arms. And their eyes kind of dotted along. They're kind of like just lumps throughout. At this point, I am going to have
Horrific.
everyone roll initiative.
It's a great
Alright.
description, and I hate it. Thank you.
Yes, it's awful. I love it. You have advantage, Nameless.
Yes.
Who wants to guess?
14.
Oh no.
Did you roll another one?
No, I rolled under 10 again,
Oh
though.
my gosh, stop.
I got a 6.
We can't
That-
keep doing this.
That is with my initiative bonus.
Oof. Maybe I should have given you the vigilant blessing.
I think
Uh,
the dice I bought for him are cursed. That's my take here.
Okay.
Got a 12.
Okay.
17.
Right.
Post here. Just-
Oh,
14.
And Elysande, what is your initiative?
I got 19. I thought we were going in order of numbers. I was trying to write it down.
Nope.
I'm sorry, mine's actually 8 with my initiative bonus.
Yay!
Nice.
Right.
Not as bad.
All right.
At least you get an initiative bonus.
Wait, what? Joe?
Yes.
Joe, what's the order?
What the hell? There we go. Come on, there we go. The order we will figure that out, but
Joe!
Next time.
that is going to be a next
Yeah!
episode thing.
You're
I
an
want
ass.
more.
So
Also-
yeah, we will continue a Starbright fantasy next week if we don't have any sort of appliance or housing issues.
Oh my
I
gosh.
still made it.
We'll see.
Made
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yours didn't last as long as mine did.